911. It's a number dialed over 240 million times each year. In all cases, these calls are answered by trained professionals, and many are certified NENA ENPs. Let's talk to one of these professionals, unedited and completely off the cuff.
Are you positive he's breathing?
No.
Okay, and he's blue?
Yeah.
Okay, then there's a good chance he's not breathing. Is there somebody else there that can do CPR?
Oh my God.
911, what's your emergency?
NENA, the National Emergency Number Association, and the NANCI-approved Standards Development Organization, has created the Emergency Number Professional Accreditation, specifically for public safety professionals. ENP certification establishes the benchmark for performance, signifying a broad-based competence in the public safety field. Successful certification completion demonstrates an individual's mastery of the knowledge base requirements for an emergency management position. So join me as we talk to yet another new ENP, unedited and completely off the cuff. Hey, it's Fletch. Once again, welcome to Off the Cuff, True Confessions of an ENP. Today we're joined by Leigh Ann Schultz, ENP, with Cobb County 911 down in Georgia. How are you, Leigh Ann? Thanks for joining us today.
Doing good. Just I've got the jacket on because it's cold in my office, but it is hot outside. So
Yeah, I can imagine.
Southern
Now,
heat.
Cobb County, you're just up on the northwest side of Atlanta, right?
Yep, just outside of the city limits area of Atlanta, but actually the Atlanta Braves, they play in our jurisdiction. So we have the Braves Stadium, we have parts of Atlanta that aren't incorporated Atlanta, but it's just as busy. It's crazy out there.
How big is the department up there?
We have 140 some odd employees right now. I think we're slotted for 160.
Wow.
We're the second largest PSAP in the state, so it's always hopping up here.
You have 140 in the PSAP.
I believe that's what we're at
Wow.
about now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell me, how many people do you have on shift? How many positions do you staff?
Oh, wow. I didn't know I was going to get quizzed. We had day shift, night shift is a little different, depending on how, like where the need is, right? You need more people during the day. I think we're about 20 some odd during the day. We try to keep around 15, 16 at night.
Wow. No, I just talked to someone down in Gainesville, Florida. And again, big center, countywide, 17 to 25 people on shift. The average PSAP is, I don't know, a couple positions. If you look at like 80%. But lately I've been talking to a lot of the bigger mid-size and upper agencies. That's got to be cool. When I was dispatching back in 1980, 3 years before you were born, by the way, because I'm an old man. As
no way! I would never.
That's what you told me. You said I was an old, decrepit man. But that's all right. I'm not going to hold it against you. I mean, I was in a single seat center, did 3 towns, and we didn't even have 911 back then. It was just 7-digit dialing. But I can't imagine what it would be working in even a 10-person center, let alone a 20-person center. There's just a lot of support and job division that you get. But I guess the job is still the same at the core of it.
Yeah, the job is definitely still the same, right? Call comes in, help goes out. But there, with all these different positions, we've been really lucky to have a good division of responsibility so that there's not one person doing all of the work. So we have multiple people who handle our the records requests. We have people who handle hiring specifically. We have a lot of different positions that allow us to kind of take the burden off of 1 or 2 individuals and kind of spread it across multiple individuals.
How do you handle the floor? Do you have dispatch and call taking?
We have, so everybody who is hired is expected to go through call taking training and dispatch training and be able to do both. So we dispatch and we answer calls at the same time. Ideally, we have enough people through our training process. We have they go through call taking training. They'll sit as a call taker for a while, and then they'll go through radio training. So our goal is that we have enough people working kind of in that call taking limbo that the dispatchers are able to kind of focus on dispatching, but they're still answering calls throughout the shift to make sure that every call is getting answered in time.
Okay, so there are people that do just an individual call taking position, but everybody kind of just once you move past that into radio, everybody's call taking dispatch, and you just let it level out.
Yeah,
that makes sense. That makes sense. What about traffic and NCIC? Is that often a separate group, or does everybody do everything?
We do have a separate at the department. We have a separate NCIC department. So when we will run, and we can run someone and look at, but we can't confirm and we don't enter. So we have a separate department that we will call that handles all of the entering and the information in that area.
So if I'm on a stop, do I call my dispatcher or do I call NCIC over radio?
Yeah, if you're the units will come across the radio with their traffic stop with the tag number. We input all that information. We get the NCIC hit that we can then look over and see, what's the status of the driver, what's the status of the vehicle. Let's say that the vehicle is a stolen vehicle and it's listed as stolen. We will advise the units of what the hit says, and then if they will let us know, okay, go ahead and confirm that, and then in that case we call the NCIC department with the information. They are the ones who actually do all the confirmation, calling the ORI and handling all that on that end.
Gotcha.
And they'll call us back and tell us whether or not it's confirmed, and then we have to tell the officers. So we're definitely the middleman in that situation, but with the amount of hits, warrants, things that would need to be handled, it's like I said, when we're at a bigger agency, we're able to kind of spread that burden around. We partner with a lot of local agencies in our area that are smaller, and they do both. They're an entering agency, and we try to explain to our people, yes, we might by numbers be a busier agency, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily a busier dispatcher, because they're handling things that we have entire teams that handle and do for us. And so it's really about connecting with other people so that you can kind of educate everyone that big center doesn't mean busier person. Like it doesn't make, and busier doesn't mean better, right? So you can be a small agency that is super busy. You can be a big agency that's busy, and everybody's doing the same hard work.
Yep. Now so how much is it in your center? How much is really automated? Because way back in the day, I get a motor vehicle stop, I take the plate, I run the plate, get the registered owner, run the registered owner by name, looking for a DL that's no good, just in case that person is the driver.
Right.
And I advise patrol, hey, by the way, check this because the registered owner happens to have a suspended DL, if that's the guy. I had to do that all by myself. Is any of that in your agency automated now?
Yeah, that's all. So they'll come across the radio, like I said, with the location and the vehicle, the tag of the vehicle. When we run the tag, it'll automatically run the tag when we put it into our CAD system. And when it runs the tag, it also runs the registered owner with them. It'll let us know about their license status. It'll let us know if that owner or if their RO is wanted for anything, if they're on parole or probation. It'll run the vehicle itself, and if that vehicle is wanted or stolen or anything like that. So
why wouldn't you with today's technology? I mean, I always said, if I ever invented the function key to repeat a command, I wouldn't have to we had to type in the NCIC query string on every plate. And I still remember it today. And I remember the ORIs of the 3 towns that I dispatched for.
Yeah.
Why I need to keep that information here? I don't know. Something is being, when I'm late to an appointment, I'm sorry, NJ0191800 was blocking you.
Yeah. Exactly. I can remember all the lyrics to the songs that I learned growing up as a kid, but by golly, if I can remember that I've got a doctor's appointment at 8 a.m.
Yeah, so, no kidding. Yeah. I mean, phone numbers, frequencies, call letters. It's all still right here in the front.
Yep.
And I'm like, get that stuff out of here.
Yeah, like clean house a little bit. Yeah.
Unbelievable. It's great when you're sitting at the bar reminiscing, though, to see who can remember most. But
yeah, it's almost like a verbal challenge coin that you lay down. feel like
Exactly. So why did you get your ENP? What made you go?
So I've been in the business only 8 years. I used to joke around with people like you have no clout, you have no, you're not a really in this as a career until you hit 10. So here I am at 8 trying to like better myself, see the future. I think because like I had told you earlier, I started when I was 33, having been a stay-at-home mom and had my degree, but wasn't using it. And so to get in the business in my 30s, married, 4 kids, that I knew that I wanted to develop professionally, that there was a lot of things that I wanted to do. And I didn't want to have to wait for that 10-year mark or 15-year mark to say, okay, now is the time to take this seriously. Now is the time to start moving forward. So I kind of jumped in with both feet. I became a CTO after I had met the minimum 3-year requirement. I then got into quality assurance. I then became the quality assurance supervisor and kind of moved my way up relatively quickly. Up until recently, I was the lowest seniority supervisor that we had on the team by a couple of years. And so I always knew that I wanted more. So as I was looking at different professional things to kind of move into and how to challenge myself, I realized that there was always one that came up and they were like, well, if you have like, you should do this or that, because if you do this one, that one's really hard. Don't do that one. And that one was always ENP. ENP is really hard. So don't do that one, but do this one or that one or the other thing. Those are easier and better ones to start with. And so I did a couple of those, right? I did a couple of the ones that people said, oh, that's a better place to start. But there was always that, but this one's too hard, right? This one's
Yep.
too difficult. And we only had, at the time, we had only had one person in the agency that had even gotten their ENP. And then I found out that a group of people had signed up to do ENP. I believe they were going to take it in April of this year. And I was like, I don't know if I can like sit back and just watch other people get this like the one that's considered the one to get like. And so I was like, I went to the director and I said, hey, I know I just did these other things, but would I be able to test for ENP? And this was in April. And she's like, well, when would you like to do it? And I said, how about July? And she's like, this July? I was like, yeah, I think I can do it. So signed up
Wow.
for July and took it. And I was like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to do this. And it was great. And it's such like a sense of accomplishment to know that I got it on the first go. I got it with only a couple of months prep. And I got it only having 8 years, right? Like not having this crazy amount of time in the business, but that I was still able to focus in and stay the course that I kind of set out for myself.
So you power crushed it in 3 months, man.
Yeah.
I know people that have studied for 3 years and tested the first time through and just barely got it on the second time through.
It was something that I knew a lot of stuff. We've got some amazing, I've had amazing mentors and guidance here. And my deputy director, Robbie, she is all about educating us, even when we'll be having a meeting about something and then it'll turn into like, well, why can't we do XYZ? And she said, well, the budget doesn't allow it. And so, well, why can't it allow it? And then she'll dive into like explaining the budget, or she explains how radio frequencies work. And she would do that before ENP was ever really on the radar for me. So even though I had only officially studied for those few months, she and my other mentor, who doesn't work here anymore, but he helped me kind of really know things. Like like where she's got the technical stuff and the budgeting and all that aspect of ENP. He had all of the employee management, the stress management, all of the stuff that, like, those intangible things that I can't just look at a spreadsheet and learn, or look at a flow chart and learn it. And so it was really kind of a building up process. Like, I did not pass this on my own. I passed it because of all the other people who've invested their time and energy into me to make sure that I knew when, like, or if I asked questions, which I ask all the time, that they were willing to answer them thoroughly so that it would stick, and I could then, not realizing I would use it for later on, but use it in ENP to pass that test. And it was just, it was a really good feeling. So they were the first two people I told when I passed. It was like, thank you. I passed it. It's crazy, but like, I was shaking when I passed it, like when I got the email. So it was good.
That's cool. Now you're a brand spanking new, shiny, new car smell ENP. Have you gotten your welcome box yet?
I got it today. It showed up.
Beautiful.
Today.
Is that the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen?
Look, when I found out it was delivered, I sent a message out to our people here. I was like, did anybody get this box? And because I was like, I have earned every pen, every pin, everything in this box. I was like, that was earned.
I thought I saw that laying on your desk.
Yeah, it just came in today. Today.
That is one of the nicest things. So make sure you look in there and check out the plaque that you can order. Mm-hmm. The nice big one. It is well worth the money. That wasn't available when I got mine, but I went back and I had one made because, that is stunning. I just had the certificate framed, but that was.
I was looking at it for CMC because CMCP. I got December last year, and I have that, but I haven't gotten it framed yet because I was like, I know they said there's a frame for it. I know they did, so I'm thinking that the like information in here that has it. I'm like, there's got to be something in there I can say.
That's a good question.
CMCP. Throw that in there too. Yeah, because that I earned that. That's like blood, sweat, and tears in that one.
Yeah, that's a proud one that you hang on the wall for sure. So that's why I always, and everybody, most of the people that I interview are new ENPs, a few renewals, but most of them are new, and everybody just puts their name in. And I always get to add the little ENP at the end of their login name on the webcast. So it's like, I get to ordain you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in public.
Welcome to the stage. Yes, exactly.
Now that's great. So what did you use for additional study materials? Did you attend any of the work groups or online courses? Did you do any of that?
I did the On Scene First.
Okay. Tracy's class, yep.
Yeah, so there were some things that I had no background with, like end offices and central offices, and there's stuff I knew nothing about. And so her study sessions were really good for laying foundational information. It was great to kind of how she broke it down into like chunks that were different than how it's laid out in the book. But the one that I would say kind of brought everything together and solidified my understanding were the mission critical podcasts. So I think I would not have understood the terminology, because those were people who know their stuff. Like, that is their job, is radios and things, or whatever it is they were talking about, that was their profession. So they're speaking at a higher level of understanding. So I would not have been able to follow and track with what they were saying if I hadn't have done On Scene First.
I've always said Tracy can take the most complex scenario or situation and break it down into, look, I'm a technical person, nonsensical explanations. And it's like, that makes no sense at all, but I get your point. And somebody who doesn't know it can equate that to what they do know, and now they understand. And they just have to learn the new words for the stupid stuff that you just said.
Right.
And
And
it's
so
like,
it was helpful.
yeah, it was. I always liked that about her, because she would come to me and she would say, "Does this make sense to you?" And I'm like, "No, it makes absolutely no sense at all." But I see where you're going, so yes,
Yeah.
it does make sense.
Yeah.
And but you're right, mission critical. It's like going to post grad school and learning from, certified professors,
Yeah.
as opposed to going to grade school and learning how to count.
They were great. And I replayed those 2 or 3 times. I'm not going to lie. I was listening to the NG 911 stuff just one more time as I'm driving down to take the test in the morning, because that was the stuff that we talk about NG 911 as if it's just like text to 911. And, a lot of it, that people think like, oh, well, we do text to 911. We're an NG 911 agency. And all the different pieces. Yeah, all the different pieces, but also how, like, okay, so going from legacy to NG 911, like what correlates, right? And then it's so crazy because we're in that quasi, like we're not half and half yet, but we're about to be like really close. Like we're getting close to EZNet. We're getting close. We're just waiting on contracts, right? Like we're ready to go. We're implementing more the Carbine's Apex system. Like we're doing all these things that are getting us like, right there and then fully. But we're discussing in the training department, pulling in information. And so it's funny because now, having gone through all the courses and understanding the differences, when someone's like, well, yeah, when we grab Annie Alley from the EZNet, and I'm like, no, like that's not, no, but okay.
There is no Annie Alley in the EZNet.
Right. And I'm like,
good for you.
No, but I like where your head's at, but that's, words matter. So it's a lot of that, but I also don't want to be like that person all the time. So I'm also like, So
I talk to a lot of people, and what drives me crazy, large college campuses with a police department, or even large international corporations that have got a security department, they've got a fire department, they may even have EMTs on site. And they'll say, oh, I'm a PSAP. I'm like, you're probably not a PSAP. And they're like, oh, no, we are. I said, oh, so you have camera trunks to the selective router. What's that? You're not a PSAP.
Yeah.
And I've talked to full-fledged certified police departments at colleges. I'm a PSAP. Well, you're a police department, but you're not a PSAP.
Right.
And, there is a difference.
There's a difference. And words matter, right?
And words matter. Words matter.
It's like, you want to get there one day. Well, let me know and we'll try to help you get there. But
there's a path.
Yeah.
But you're not there yet. You got a person in an office taking phone calls. What happens to the second call?
Right.
What happens to the third, fourth, or fifth? How many calls do you think you're going to get if there is ever an active shooter on the campus? And there's 50 cell phones in the immediate area. Guess what? You're probably going to get 50 phone calls at the same time. What happens to call 2 through 50? Where does that go? Because one of those might be the one that's got the shooter description.
Right. The visual. Right. Yeah, I know. Yeah. But it's funny that you don't know what you don't know. And so, and I want to be able to pass that on the way that it was passed on to me to help me get better and to help me learn and understand. So hopefully, hopefully throughout the next, months and years, be able to kind of educate people and help them in a way that makes them excited about moving forward with their professional development, and seeing that there's a lot out there in public safety and in 911 specifically, because I think that we kind of get stagnant. Especially, we're very lucky here. We're not underneath a police department. We're our own agency in the Department of Public Safety at Cobb County.
Okay.
But we, some people feel like if they get into 911 and they are, say they're under a police department, they don't see anywhere to grow professionally, because they're like, well, I'm not a police officer, so I can't ever be the captain that's in charge of 911 or the major that is doing this or that. But you don't have to limit yourself because of where you are right now. You can get these designations, and we're really, really lucky here at Cobb County that our director and our deputy directors are so invested in our professional development. Because when I see, directors of other agencies, and we always look, right? We look at the designations after their names, just because, like, if you're a director, if you're where I want to be in X number of years, what do you have that I might need to get? So you look, and you don't see that many with ENP after their names. You don't see as many with CMCP or RPL or CPE. Like, they're out there, but there's a lot that don't have those designations.
Yep.
So grow yourself, grow professionally, prepare yourself. And then if your agency ever does convince the department to let you be your own entity, or if you move to an agency that it is their own entity, you are ahead of the game. And being prepared to move forward in your career. So I really hope that people kind of see that 911 is not a dead end job. Like, it's not well, you got to be a CTO, or maybe you get to be a supervisor, but that's as far as you can go. There is so much opportunity out there.
If you just look up the NENA membership, which is 22,000, there are 1,800 roughly ENPs. 1,800 of 22,000. Do that math.
Yeah.
That's
why I wanted it.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted it.
Well, you know, you should feel very proud. What did you feel when you got that letter? I mean, when you opened the email, tell me about that, because those are the most thrilling 3 seconds of your life. Well, you've had 4 kids, so I'm not.
I don't know, man. I don't know. This might be. So I knew that after you had completed the test that you would get your results.
Yeah, you get your pass.
I thought it was on the computer screen. So I'm sitting there with, like, my mouse hovering over, like, the finish button, thinking, because, okay, you could miss 45 questions and still pass, I think. Yeah,
you could. You have to get. Oh gosh, now you're holding me on the spot.
Well, there you go. In payback.
70%. 70%.
Yeah, I think you can miss 45.
Okay.
And so I had flagged any question that I wasn't absolutely sure about.
Okay.
Anything that I'm like, oh, like I'm not sure. So when I got to the very end, I counted all of my flagged questions, and I had 44. And I was like, well, that's not good. Because what if I'm really confident about a wrong answer, right? And I didn't flag it. So I went back through. There were a couple that I realized as I had gone through them that I needed to change an answer from before, because the way it was worded in, like, maybe question 3, I was not sure about. But when I got to question 103, it triggered my
later clarified it and made it all clear. That happens all the time, and I tell people, flag questions you're not 100% sure on, and those are the ones you want to go back to. If you know it and it's there, answer it and put it away, and don't go back.
And so that's what I did, and I went back and I changed a few of them. Mm-hmm. And I ended up, I probably should know this, I ended up getting like 134, 138 right out of 150. Wow. So I knew. So a lot of those ones that I flagged, but I did have the right answer. But but I was terrified, right? So I'm hovering over waiting, and I hit the like finish or complete button, and nothing happened. It was just like, thanks, have a great day. And I was like, okay, so when do we get the answer? So then I had to wait and leave the testing center because, they make you lock down your cell phone and everything, and there's no service. So I get outside, and I get the little email like notification and I'm like shaking as I like check this. And so when it opened and it had that little like past little green,
Yeah.
like initial, oh, that was like a huge sigh of relief. And then I just start texting people like, I passed. So it was
No,
a
that's
huge
a great feeling. And when I took it first, you got your pass fail at the center, but you had to walk out to the front desk to get it. And then they started emailing it later. And then, with the online testing, again, it was an email afterwards. And, every once in a while, because of an email filter, somebody wouldn't get their email till like the next day. And I'm like, how did you survive 24 hours not knowing?
Nope.
Like,
No, I don't think I could have done. I barely survived the walk from the seat in front of the computer to getting outside and having service. Like it was.
Most people get it. But people I talk to, I would say probably 90% get it when they get in their car. And then they have to stop because like, I can't drive home.
Yeah. They're like, yeah. But it was, and then to think like, oh, like it's done. I did it. And it's like a relief of.
But you still can't tell anybody officially.
Well, right. Like I told, like, I was like, this is what they told me. It might be, but what are you going to do? Right. Like,
yeah.
Okay. And this is a show that only adults are probably watching, but I likened it to like a pregnancy test, right? Like you might get some false negatives, but you probably won't get any false positives. So I was like, hey, they said I passed. I'm going to go with I passed. And I didn't they didn't post it on the agency's social media or anything. Actually, I'm supposed to take a picture with this soon, and so they can post it. And I was like, sure we have to do that? Can I just like hold it up in front of my face? Because I'm like, that's not my thing. Like I get these things for myself to be like, I knew I could do it, right? I don't know. Maybe that's kind of, I don't know, but I don't necessarily want it posted out for everybody else to be like, haha, I did it. It's more of like,
it's not a haha, I did it. It's you can do this too.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I need to change my thinking because I want to do it. Like I'm so invested in like, I'm going to do this. It's hard and I know I can do hard things and I'm going to do this for myself and to better better my development so I can do and be more active in the 911 community. But I don't want to brag about it. Right. So, but maybe changing it from, it's not necessarily bragging, but it is showing like, you can get into this business at 33 years old and you can have a husband and 4 kids and a crazy life and still do this and make a big difference in your agency. So
what's your husband do?
He's in, well, it's kind of real estate, but it's in he works for companies that buy up homes and then they renovate and then sell out the portfolio package of the home.
Oh yeah, okay,
so,
that's cool.
Yeah,
I get a lot of people say, "Well, what's your spouse do?" Oh, my spouse is a cop.
Oh, like, no way.
You're in 911 and you married a cop?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. No. Well, what I tell people, okay, and this is all I tell people: if you're going to work in public safety or for the government in any way, you need to find someone who works in the private sector because somebody has to actually make money. Like, I might have the job security and the insurance and that kind of stuff, but you ain't getting rich. You ain't raising 4 kids and sending 4 kids to college and doing family vacations with
Good for you. That's incredible. A mom of 4 kids starting at 33 in a public safety career.
Yeah.
And here you are 8 years later as the training and quality assurance coordinator with a focus on quality assurance. And your partner focuses on training.
Yep.
So you're the narc. Sorry.
I got into quality assurance because it was being run like that. It was being run like, the walk of shame and the, oh, who's getting in trouble now. And I saw that the way that it was being run, and I just said that, like, I can do better than that. I can't sit by and let people be treated like that. And so I made it my purpose at that time to go from being a CTO to getting involved into quality assurance. And over the course of time, different people kind of left QA, left the department. I had the opportunity to come in, and I've made it my mission to be like, that QA is a place that you kind of don't mind being in. I mean, you can't really see my office. I got like my little salt lamp over here, but like lights stay off, nice lamp lighting. Usually there's music playing. It's more of there's tons of plants. I got a shelf full of plants over there. It's a peaceful place for people to come in. Let's talk about this call. What were you thinking? What happened? How can we do this better? And not so you did this wrong thing again, slap on the hand. Like that's, it's really about perspective and how you speak to people about what they've done on a call. And is the goal for everybody to be better, or is the goal just for this call to have been handled differently? And if it's just this call to be handled differently, you're never going to get people on board to do what it is you need them to do for the agency. So,
no, that's cool. You got a great attitude. When I was down for Nina in Orlando, took the family down, and we spent a couple of extra days because it was really close to, right before 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
And Erica Leighy is a CTO at Osceola County Sheriff's Office. She invited my family over for a barbecue at her house. And she's like, I don't know, 2 miles from the center. And I said, hey, any chance you can show me the center? So we went over. It was a holiday. And her office is the same thing. Comfortable, nice lighting, big ass recliner in there. I'm like, I could get used to this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind. I wouldn't mind coming in and getting yelled at because at least I'm comfortable.
Yeah, keep candy on the desk, chocolate, candy, mints, whatever. Like, take a chocolate. This might be rough, right? There's a box of tissues over there that's kind of out of the view of the camera. But yeah, I mean, we try to account for all scenarios. But yeah,
no, that's cool.
But that's where it is, right? That's, people don't want to be treated like a number. People don't want to be treated as like, oh, you only talk to me when I do something bad. So you got to set
quality assurance. I think it's like, look, let's evaluate how this could have been done differently and better for an outcome. And you know what? File that away for the next time.
Right. And I think the biggest thing that for me that shows that whatever we're doing is working is that people will come to us like ahead of time. They're like, I just took this call and I know I probably totally messed it up, but I don't know what I should have done differently. So can we walk through it? Right. And so they're coming to us before we even have a chance to hear the call. And to me, that just shows like they trust us to treat them with respect, to handle the situation with care, and to give them solid advice for the next time, because we must have told them something right in the past for them to want to come back and rely on us for advice in the future. So it's been a long, hard road to kind of change the mentality of what QA was to now what it is and what it will be. But yeah, you couldn't drive. When I came in for this position, I was the only one who was interested in it. And now we have people all the time saying like, but how do I get into QA, or how do I do this, or how do I, what can I do to get your job one day? And to me, that just shows like we've really kind of changed the culture of that mentality of it being a punishment to now being something that's worthwhile and worth investing your time in. Like, nobody wants to be the jailer. Nobody wants to be the executioner. And so if we've changed it that people don't feel that way anymore, then I think we've done a good job.
So as one of your employees or as one of your call takers, I could come to you and say, hey, Leigh Ann, I just called this frequent flyer an annoying bastard. Is that okay? Can I do that better?
So there is a line between call handling by policy and an operational, like you've broken an operational policy, right? Yeah. So QA but we have had people say like, yeah, I think I might've just gotten a little mean with them. And it's funny because the people who always say I got really mean with them, I'm like, okay. And I'll listen to the call and I'll be like, where did you get mean with them?
Yeah.
But it's always the people who are like, I'm always nice, that you're like, You're never nice.
Yeah.
But like, right. So it's just,
Well, if I ever worked for you, I would have an open, you would have to put a revolving door in your office. So,
Well, sometimes like right now, we're working on submitting, we use the IAED protocols. And so we're working on submitting an ACE package. And so I've got a sign on my door right now that says, I'm trying to get some work done. I'm easily distracted. Please do not come in unless it is absolutely necessary, because people will come in and they'll talk and chat and grab some candy and, we'll discuss calls. And that's what it's for, right? My job is to be there for what the floor needs and what they need for their calls, what help they need. If my whole job was putting together an ACE package, then we'd never be able to put it together because our people wouldn't be supported. So my doors are usually open and I put whatever I'm doing aside to help them with what they need. But sometimes I have to put the sign on the door and say, sorry, guys. I almost put the candy outside on like a little table out there so that if you just need the candy, it's out here for you, like trick or treating. So
last question, then I'll let you get back to work. What's your advice for somebody who's on the fence as an ENP and is not sure that they can do it, they should do it, or if they can do it?
I think that you have to try, right? Without getting all in the cliches, you fail 100% of the things that you don't even attempt. So if you're afraid that you're not going to be able to do it, you don't know you can't do it till you try it. So just get out there and talk to people at your agency who have taken it, ask for their feedback, ask for their tips. Definitely, try to get into those like On Scene First or the Mission Critical or any of those groups that are out there, just to kind of hear the material before you sell yourself short and say, I can't do it, and you don't even try. The worst thing that could happen is you take the test and you don't pass on the first go. And at the end of the day, if that is the worst thing that could happen, then that's not that bad. So just give it a shot, see what you'll probably surprise yourself. You'll probably do way better than you think you're going to do. So just don't sell yourself short. You got to put yourself out there.
Yeah. And there's a person who got somewhere in their mid 80s for a score. That's pretty damn good. That's well above the average. So congrats on that. And we'll see you again in 4 years when you recertify.
Oh yeah.
Well, listen, Leigh Ann, thank you so much. Thanks for what you do. You're just an incredible person, doing what you do and living the life that you have to live, taking care of 4 kids and a baby. Oh, I mean, 4 kids and a husband.
He does a lot. He does a lot. He does a lot.
Oh, come on. All grown men are infants. They take a ton of care and feeding.
Oh, man. He doesn't eat much. Yeah, he does a lot for them, driving them around all their games and practice.
He doesn't eat much and he brings home the money. So. And
it really does. It takes everybody. Like I appreciate what you say about me, but I'm really only able to be me because of the people that are around me in my life. So it's a group effort.
Well, great. Well, if you ever need anything, count me in on that group. I'm here to help.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for sitting down with us. Have a great day. And thanks for being an ENP.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up this episode of Off the Cuff, Confessions of an ENP. I'm Mark Fletcher, ENP, and I'm the Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Off the Cuff is sponsored by 911 Inform, delivering next-generation 911 solutions to the enterprise today and making every second count. Visit them on the web at 911inform.com. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Fletch911. Check out all my blogs and podcasts at Fletch.tv. And be sure to like and subscribe below. That way you'll be immediately notified whenever a new podcast is published. Thanks so much for listening. If you're in public safety, thanks for what you do. Take care and have a great day.